I am sympathetic towards the Grand Old Party. It is going from existential crisis to crisis, as Mr. Jairam Ramesh put it. Congress is in ICU.
Right, so as Mr. Rajagopalan said, the Congress is in ICU. It's stumbling from one crisis to another. Professor Pant, if I can come to you now, you're the foreign policy expert on this panel tonight on Newsnight. What did you make of the allegations and the clarifications issued by Minister Jaishankar and the BJP president? In particular, Rahul Gandhi seems to be asking, why did China choose this moment in time for the face-off in Ladakh? Now, some would say it is Prime Minister Modi's infrastructure development push at the LAC that has completely unnerved the Chinese. Your thoughts, Professor Pant?
See, I think there is absolutely no doubt that in the last few years, India has stood up to China like it has never done in the last 2 decades. And the result is that India is now speaking out, as I think the Foreign Minister Jaishankar candidly wrote in his tweets, that look, if you look at Indian behavior towards China, India has stood up on every single issue. India remains the only country that stood up to China on BRI, despite the fact that there was a danger of being isolated. Our friends told us, don't do that, you will be isolated. India stood up and challenged China on that. India stood up to China on Doklam. India has stood up to China when it comes to its operational foreign policy in the Indo-Pacific. Despite China complaining about the Indo-Pacific, India brought Indo-Pacific narrative and India made Indo-Pacific narrative the common, the parlance of contemporary diplomacy. There is no doubt about it. So clearly, I think if you look at the larger engagement with China, if you look at the larger engagement, strategic engagement with China, India has stood up to China. India has made it very clear what its red lines are. And India has also made it very clear that it is willing to work with China under certain circumstances. So if you want to work with China under the Wuhan spirit, it is very welcome to do it. But if you challenge India, then India will respond. And the fact that you had infrastructure development happening at such a spectacular pace in Jammu and Kashmir over the last 4 or 5 years, the result is that China is completely unnerved by what India is doing in terms of changing the ground realities. And it is perhaps for the first time that you are witnessing China reacting to India. You see, there have always been complaints that India has a very reactive foreign policy, that India reacts to what other countries do. This is the time when you are witnessing China reacting to what India has been doing in the last 4 to 5 years, and how proactively India is shaping the boundary environment in Kashmir and in Ladakh in particular. So clearly for Indian politicians to make this a spectacle in terms of divisions in India is quite unbecoming, I think, of India as a democracy. All democracies should have healthy debates on foreign policy like other policies. But to make it about personalities, to make it about individuals, to make it so partisan that you cannot have a debate, a discussion on the merits and demerits of a particular policy is very unfortunate. Mr. Rahul Gandhi has not done this for the first time. You may recall he raised this issue of Rafale, very, very vividly, despite knowing very well that India needed the capacity that Rafale was bringing to the fore. And look at the situation today in the LAC with Rafale and other procurements that India has done. India can stand up to China in some way. So clearly one has to recognize what India is doing. One has to make it part of one's own foreign policy discourse. And for Congress party and for Mr. Gandhi to believe that somehow by disparaging the Prime Minister, he can get away with it, I think is also very unfortunate. This sense of commenting very casually about very, very important matters. What kind of an image he's projecting to China, that this is a country that even on an issue where China is on our borders can't be united just because one individual wants to have certain posts in his own political party and one wants to launch himself time and time again. I think what we are looking at is quite unbecoming spectacle of a grand old party in this country. And Congress and Mr. Gandhi should be realizing that I think there are better ways of achieving what perhaps they are trying to achieve. There are better ways of engaging in public policy discourse. There are better ways of engaging and countering the ruling party's policies. But this is not the way to go about it. When you have a crisis on the border, when China is looking at every opportunity to forward its national interest, when China is trying to see what vulnerabilities are there in the internal system, and this must be pointed out. In every country that China is dealing with today, It is looking at internal vulnerabilities.
Right.
Wherever the country is weak, they try to create fissures. And if India goes down that route, it will be very, very unfortunate. And Mr. Gandhi is
Indeed.
giving no sense that he is under control, that he knows what the kind of stakes there are. And so I think as someone that is observing it from outside, it shows a complete lack of maturity from Mr. Gandhi's part,
Right.
and a certain sense that I think partisan politics in this country of the kind that we have been practicing, of the kind that targets Mr. Modi directly time and time again, has
Right.
to go if this country has to evolve a foreign policy, public policy culture that is more mature, that behoves India as a major democracy in the world.
All right, point taken. I'm running out of time, gentlemen. Very quickly, one last question to all three of my guests, starting with you, Mr. Tandon. Now, the government says we are having a proactive diplomacy with strong ground posturing. And as Professor Pant pointed out, India is no longer a reactive diplomacy. India is proactively pursuing its interests. But what did you make of the decision of the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi in particular to target foreign policy and the fact that the frontal attack on Prime Minister Modi will have diminishing returns as we go forward? Your thoughts, Mr. Tandon, and then Mr. Rajagopalan.
Mr. Nadda has very rightly said that it's an attempt to politicize India's foreign policy.
Right.
Over the last 7 decades, India's foreign policy has been a policy of national consensus, which practically all governments have done in the past.
True.
And this is exactly what Prime Minister Modi has been doing. So he convened an all-party meeting where even leaders like Sharad Pawar agreed with the government. The Trinamool Congress also is keeping quiet. All political parties are in favor of a national consensus on issues like this.
Right.
But fortunately, it is only Mr. Rahul Gandhi who is trying to politicize it. I want to ask him if at all he has reservations about India's handling of the foreign policy, for that matter, the China issue. He should be convening an all-party meeting, an opposition meeting. In fact, he is not in a position to convene a meeting of all opposition. And for that, even Sonia Gandhi has to come forward and convene a meeting. Tomorrow, what will happen? If he is installed as the Congress president, will other opposition parties come under his banner for an opposition meet, which I doubt. So therefore, if at all he has a reservation, he should try to evolve a consensus among non-BJP or all other opposition parties, which he will fail. And who will help him? Not a single leader has come in support of him. Leave aside the opposition ranks, even within the Congress rank. So I think his attempt to himself as the prospective Congress president, I think it is going to boomerang, and it is for the Congress party.
It will boomerang on the Congress party, said Mr. Tandon.
And I think they need to ponder over it.
Mr. Tandon, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm running out of time. So very quickly, if I can go across to Mr. Rajagopalan and Professor Pant. Mr. Rajagopalan, the law of diminishing returns is kicking in. The more you attack Prime Minister Modi frontally, the more it backfires on the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi in particular.
It will boomerang on Congress. You wait and watch, Mr. Ramesh. In 2024, Congress will not get the same 42 or 44 seats. It will go diminishing. What Mr. Tandon said is absolutely correct. Politically, Mr. Narendra Modi has been doing very well. Narendra Modi has made China to have a bloody nose on their face, especially on foreign policy. Mr. Jaishankar on defense policy, Mr. Rajnath Singh have been giving Narendra Modi a powerful support. So therefore, I see the negative politician in Rahul Gandhi's mindset. I feel that Rahul Gandhi should learn lessons from Mr. Narendra Modi and do not call him as a chore or a thief or a surrender person. Beware of your words.
Beware of your words. That's the comment from one of my guests. I want to thank on that note Mr. Ashok Tandon, Mr. Rajagopalan and Professor Pant for joining us on Newsnight. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Right, moving on, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi on Monday began human trials of the indigenously developed COVID-19 vaccine candidate called Covaxin. Thousands of people had contacted the institute, but only 100 volunteers between the ages of 18 and 55 were selected for the trials. Here's a detailed report.
For human trials process, the registration for testing of Covaxin has started at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS, Delhi. AIIMS Professor Dr. Sanjay Rai has been appointed as the chief investigator for conducting these tests. Over 2,000 people have contacted AIIMS for the human trial. AIIMS Director Randeep Guleria gave detailed information about the trial of the 3 phases at a press conference. Total number of 1,125 people will be vaccinated in the first 2 phases. In the first phase, trials will be done on 375 people, and 18 to 55 years of age will be part of the crucial trials. Healthy participants with no comorbidities and without a history of COVID-19 will be selected.
Phase 1, it has to be done in healthy people between the age of 18 and 55 years. तो 18 साल से 55 साल की उम्र में जो हेल्दी हैं, जिनको कोई कोमॉर्बिडिटीज़ नहीं है, टोटल सैंपल जो इनिशियली है ट्रायल का सारे सेंटर्स को मिला के वो 1125 हेल्दी वॉलंटियर्स का है, जिसमें से 375 जो हैं वो फेज़ 1 में स्टडी किए जाएंगे. एम्स दिल्ली में 100 हेल्दी वॉलंटियर्स रिक्रूट किए जाएंगे.
In second phase, 750 people between age 12 to 65 will be part of Covaxin trial. At the same time, a large number of people will be trialed in which the immunity developed in people will be tested. The AIIMS director said that in the first phase, the side effects of the vaccine would be monitored for 28 days and regular care would be taken for 3 months.
Phase 2 में जो है उसमें हम 750 लोग रिक्रूट करेंगे और इसकी एज लिमिट थोड़ी ज़्यादा है, 12 साल से लेके 65 साल तक. ये फेज़ 2 स्टडी है और इसमें वैक्सीन के 3 फॉर्मुलेशंस ट्राई किए जाएंगे. दैट इज़ फॉलोड सब्सिक्वेंटली बाय फेज़ 3, जिसमें लार्जर पॉपुलेशन के साथ किया जाता है टू सी कि उसकी एफिकेसी और थेरेपेटिक बेनिफिट कितना दे रही है. वी फाइंड दैट इट इज़ सेफ, इट इज़ इम्यूनोजेनिक and we have no issues of side effects, and the report suggests that it is good. If that is there, then I think in the next 2 to 3 months we should be able to have a result. But remember, you have to follow up these patients. So even when you give the injection, to look for side effects, the follow-up is for 28 days.
As COVID-19 is new virus, so there are many possibilities regarding the effect of this vaccine. AIIMS director said that this vaccine will provide immunity at least 1 to 2 years.
The virus is only 6-7 months old. The vaccine, the virus is a new virus. So I think it's difficult to predict, but I'm hopeful that the vaccine will give immunity at least for more than 1 to 2 years.
AIIMS Director Dr. Guleria expressed happiness that India is making its own vaccine. India lags behind developed countries in research and development in the field of medicine. In such crucial time, if Covaxin for coronavirus pandemic becomes successful, it will be a big achievement for India in the field of R&D. With inputs from Nitendra Singh, News Night Desk, DD India.
And talking about COVID-19 vaccine research, AstraZeneca's experimental COVID-19 vaccine was safe and produced an immune response in early stage clinical trials in healthy volunteers, data showed on Monday. According to trial results published by the Lancet Medical Journal, the vaccine called AZD1222 and being developed by AstraZeneca and scientists at Britain's University of Oxford did not prompt any serious side effects and elicited antibody and T-cell immune responses. The study's lead author Andrew Pollard of the Oxford University said he hoped the vaccine would protect people for extended periods, but that more research was needed to confirm its efficacy and determine how long any protection lasts. Now, a 3-member team of officials from New Delhi visited Gaya in Bihar on Monday to take stock of the COVID-19 situation there. The Bihar government had said on Sunday that 8 testing centers have become operational in Gaya, where on-demand COVID-19 testing is available free of cost. Meanwhile, the flood situation remains grim in some parts of India. Floodwaters and heavy rains have disrupted life in many states. Take a look at the next report.
Several states in India are battling monsoon mayhem. In the Pithoragarh district of Uttarakhand, water level of Gauri and Kali rivers have increased due to heavy rainfall. Cloudburst and heavy rains wreaked havoc in 2 villages of Pithoragarh district, leaving 3 people dead and 11 reportedly missing. Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat directed the district magistrate to ensure prompt rescue and relief operations. Chief Minister also directed the DM to give financial assistance to the victims. 2 teams of SDRF are carrying rescue and relief operations. MET department has issued red and orange alerts in the state for Tuesday and Wednesday. Heavy rainfall has also been predicted in many areas of Jammu and Kashmir due to western monsoon. The MET department has also predicted heavy rainfall in Himachal, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana. In Assam, over 24 lakh people in 24 districts are affected by floods. 85 people have also lost their lives. And that's not all. 26 people have also died in landslides in various parts of the state. As a result, the death toll has reached 111.
Government of Assam, with the support of the Government of India, we are extending our wholehearted support. We are trying to provide them best possible quality food item to those flood affected victims, and also we are releasing within 48 hours ex gratia to those people who have lost their life in landslide and flood. So this is the way we are tackling the issue, and particularly I am grateful to the people of Assam that whatever they have shown their guts and courage and determination. This is great.
The situation in Bihar is also grim due to heavy rains and increasing water levels in rivers. Darbhanga, Sitamarhi and Muzaffarpur district of North Bihar are badly affected. 3 lakh people from 8 districts of the state are affected by the flood fury. Meanwhile, urban areas including Patna are facing the problem of water logging at a larger scale. Bureau Report, DD India.
Moving on, the Supreme Court on Monday asked the Uttar Pradesh government to consider adding a former Supreme Court judge and a retired police officer to an inquiry committee that's looking into the encounter of gangster Vikas Dubey. The top court said it was appalled that the gangster got bail despite so many cases against him. A bench headed by Chief Justice S.A. Bobde heard a batch of pleas seeking a court-monitored probe into the encounters of Dubey and his alleged associates. The court told the UP government that it has to uphold rule of law. The Supreme Court on Monday dismissed petitions seeking protection of artifacts around the Ram Janmabhoomi site. The public interest litigation petitions had sought the digging up of the Ram Janmabhoomi site and protection of artifacts. The Supreme Court called the petitions frivolous and imposed a fine of 1 lakh rupees each on 2 petitioners. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic brought the world to a standstill. Everything, including academics, came to a sudden halt. But slowly, the situation is improving. Universities are adjusting to the new normal. One such example is Jawaharlal Nehru University, one of India's prestigious universities. Now, during the lockdown, the JNU entrance exams were postponed. The deadline was extended many times to give students a chance to apply. The JNU received a record number of applications this year. The maximum number of applications were received for the master's program, followed by PhD and bachelor programs. A large number of applications were also received for MA Political Science, MSc Life Sciences, MCA, MA Geography and MSc Physics. For the first time, JNU will be admitting students to an integrated BSc and MSc program in Ayurveda Biology, for which a large number of applications have been received.
This is the second year that JNU is conducting its computer-based entrance examination in collaboration with the National Testing Agency. I am very happy to announce that JNU has received a record number of applications this year for its different academic programs of study. For JNU entrance examination 2020, a record of 1,35,462 applications were registered. This year we have also seen a large improvement in the gender representation as well as the representation of students from different social categories of our country.
Political uncertainty in Rajasthan continues. The hearing on the petition filed by dissident Congress legislators on the notice given by the Assembly Speaker has been postponed till 10:30 tomorrow morning. That's on Tuesday. Senior advocate Harish Salvi, representing Sachin Pilot and 18 other MLAs, said that the rebel MLAs are not demanding changing the government or its fall. They just want change of the Chief Minister. They've questioned the notice of the Speaker, challenging its legality. He said Assembly Speaker's notice on absence from Legislative Party meeting outside the Assembly has no validity.
सालवे साहब ने अपने आर्ग्यूमेंट पूरे कर लिए हैं। अब मिस्टर रौदगी को आर्ग्यू करना है, सो कोर्ट अभी कंटिन्यू करेंगे। कल 10:30 बजे सुबह 10:30 बजे मिस्टर रौदगी विड आर्ग्यू एंड उसके बाद जो एप्लीकेंट्स ने एप्लीकेशन लगाई उन पे सुनवाई होगी और फिर किसी को सर रिजॉइंडर पे अपने अगर बहस करनी होगी तो वो अपॉर्चुनिटी दे करके कल होपफुली आर्ग्यूमेंट कंक्लूड हो जाएगा। सालवे सर की बहस पे वही रिट्रेशन है कि कोर्ट के पास पावर है वापस से 10(1)(a अगर असंवैधानिक है तो उसको रिविजिट करके हाई कोर्ट पूरी तरह से एम्पावर्ड है उस पर ऑर्डर पास करने के लिए। और फ्लोर क्रॉसिंग पे उन्होंने आर्ग्यूमेंट किए कि क्या इसको फ्लोर क्रॉसिंग माना जाए या नहीं माना जाए और जो स्पीकर के द्वारा कार्रवाई की गई है वो गलत की गई।
With an aim to boost Make in India initiative of the Government of India with the approval of Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, the acquisition wing of the Defence Ministry has today signed a contract with Messrs Bharat Earth Movers Limited for procurement of 1,512 mine plows or tank T90 at an approximate cost of 557 crore rupees. The contract has buy and make Indian categorization with a minimum of 50% indigenous content in make portion of the contract. Now, these mine plows will be fitted on T90 tanks of Indian Armoured Corps, which will facilitate individual mobility to tanks while negotiating a minefield. The mobility will enhance manifold, which in turn would extend the reach of armoured formation deep into enemy territory without becoming a mine causality. Now, with the induction of these mine plows planned to be completed by 2027, the combat capability of the army will be further enhanced. Right, moving on, Prime Minister Modi wants to double farmers' income by 2022 and therefore a number of farming-related announcements are being made by the central government. Farmers express their happiness as they will enjoy freedom of choice in regard to procurement and sales across the country, which facilitates discovery of the most remunerative prices.
मैं एक किसान होने के नाते मैं साडे देश के प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का धन्यवाद करता हूं, जिन्होंने जो काफ़ी समय से किसानों की जो पुरानी डिमांड थी कि किसान किसी भी जगह पे फसल बेच सकता है, वो उन्होंने मांग को पूरा किया है।
हमारी फसल को बॉर्डर में रोक लिया जाता था, हुण असी हमारी फसल जिथे भी हमको रेट मिलेगा उत्थे हम बेच सकते हैं। मोदी सरकार ने जो ये कदम जो साडा MSP तक को खत्म नहीं किया तो जो असी अपनी फसल का मन मर्जी के साथ रेट किसी भी स्टेट में ले सकते हैं।
जो मोदी सरकार ने आर्डिनेंस जारी किया है ये बहुत बढ़िया आर्डिनेंस है, किसान इससे बहुत खुशहाल होएगा।
MSP बरकरार रहेगा और जहां किसान को अच्छा रेट मिलेगा वहां बेच सकता है, तो ये बहुत बढ़िया फैसला है मोदी सरकार का। किसानों की जो आमदनी दुगनी हो जाएगी।
All right, take a look at what else is making news around India in our national wrap.
Special Operations Group of Jammu Police and Army have busted a terror funding module of the Lashkar-e-Taiba in Jammu. According to police spokesperson, banned terrorist organization Lashkar-e-Taiba LET had activated a module of its members for carrying out terror activities in Jammu and Kashmir. Particularly, it had been tasked by the handlers to visit Jammu and collect a consignment of Hawala money for further use by the terrorists and their supporters. During the search, one bag containing 1.5 lakh rupees was recovered, which was concealed in a tiffin box. Initial questioning revealed that the money was sent by Harun, self-styled commander of LET from Pakistan, to be delivered to the terrorists through their overground workers in Doda. 15 days after the Vikas Dubey encounter, two of his close aides, Jaykant Vajpayee and Prashant Shukla, have been arrested by the UP police for their alleged involvement in Kanpur encounter, in which 8 police personnel were killed. Delhi police has filed another complaint against Khalistan terrorist Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. Terrorist Pannu, accused of inciting sects. A video was also released by terrorist Pannu. After that, a case has been filed against him in Delhi. August 15 is near, so all security agencies are also fully cautious about this. In a major development in the Tuticorin custodial deaths case, a Madurai court has sent 3 police officials, Chelladurai, Samathurai and Veyil Muthu, to 3 days in CBI custody. A CBI team reached Madurai on July 9th to take over the probe into the death of the father-son duo in the Sathankulam police station on June 19. Earlier, the Tamil Nadu CBCID had arrested 10 police and charged them with murder before they were remanded to judicial custody. Later, Chief Minister Palaniswamy handed over the case to the CBI. The National Investigation Agency and the Maharashtra government today sought time at the Mumbai High Court to reply to the interim medical bail filed by poet P. Varvara Rao, 81 years old, admitted at Nanavati Hospital. A division bench of Justices S.S. Shinde and S.P. Tabade was hearing a criminal appeal filed on behalf of Rao, accused in the Bhima Koregaon case. It is an appeal against rejection of his entry medical bail by Sessions Court. The court adjourned to be heard on July 23rd. Meanwhile, the same bench also directed the state and NIA to file their replies on petition filed by Rao against prison authorities seeking directions against them to submit detailed report along with medical papers of the treatment and a course of action followed by them post the hurried discharge of Rao from JJ Hospital on June 2, 2020. Indian Navy units undertook passage exercise with units of US Navy Nimitz Carrier Strike Group as they transit through Indian Ocean region. USS Nimitz is on its way from South China Sea to deployment in the Middle East. BJP has announced new state presidents for Gujarat and Ladakh. Party President JP Nadda has announced C.R. Patil and Jamyang Tshering Namgyal, both Lok Sabha MPs, as presidents of BJP Gujarat and Ladakh units respectively. In Puducherry Legislative Assembly, the opposition parties NR Congress, AIADMK and BJP members staged a walkout in the House opposing Chief Minister Narayanasamy presenting the budget without the Lieutenant Governor's address. Earlier, Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry Kiran Bedi refused to deliver her customary address of the budget session in the Legislative Assembly, saying Chief Minister V. Narayanasamy did not send her the annual financial statement and demand for grants meant to be presented in the House. Minister of State for Power and New and Renewable Energy R.K. Singh inaugurated a charging hub of electrical vehicles, a project completed through public-private partnership. He also introduced equipment operated by private companies to reduce air pollution.
Now, days after a report claimed that Iran has dropped India from the Chabahar rail project, Iran on Monday denied the report, blaming vested interests behind it and reassured India's active participation in the mega project. Iran's Deputy Minister of Transport and Railways, Saeed Rasooli, has said that vested interests were behind those reports. Earlier on Monday, the Iranian minister invited the Indian ambassador to Iran, Gaddam Dharmendra, to review ongoing cooperation on the Chabahar-Zahedan railway project. Last week, the Ministry of External Affairs has said that despite the difficulties posed by the sanctions situation, there has been significant progress on the Chabahar port project. The Indian company has been operating the port since 2018 and has steadily scaled up the traffic at the port. Proactive measures are currently underway to increase the usage of Chabahar port, both for Afghanistan and Central Asia. All right, joining me is my colleague Abhishek Jha for more on this story. Abhishek, good to have you on Newsnight. Now, there was some confusion about India's participation in the Chabahar port and the railway project. Have those confusions and speculation now been put to rest?
Of course, Ramesh.
Right.
We know that almost 2 weeks ago, the report came that Iran has started laying out the railway lines on Chabahar-Zahedan project. And then it was speculated, since no reaction came from that side, that okay, there might be some reports, whether India is included or not, that this story was fueled by certain media reports in Indian media also, then some Iranian media also quoted some unidentified sources from Iranian side. But so far, no official source, either from India or Iran, had commented on this story. We only got this Indian MEA reaction on last week when India said that this whole speculation is wrong and India is very much part of it, and there are a continuous process of inspection and review going on, and we are awaiting an appointment of a nodal authority from Iranian side. And now when Iranian Deputy Minister of Transport and Rail has also commented on this, that India is very much part of it, and there are vested interests behind those media speculation, then one must put to rest all the rumor and speculation between Iran and Indian friendship and relation that has been brewing on in the last 2 weeks.
Abhishek, very quickly help our viewers understand Why is the Chabahar port and the Chabahar-Zaidan railway line so important for India and the region at large, including Iran and Afghanistan?
Okay, Ramesh, for two reasons. First, that it would be a very strategic commercial interest, serving India's commercial interest, to enter Iran, but through Iran to the other Central Asian countries like Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, and also since our trade via Pakistan to Afghanistan is very much, prohibited because of certain political and other dynamics. So trade to Afghanistan will be facilitated through this Chabahar port, where India is helping to lay that Chabahar-Zaidan road, railroad, which will be further put across to Afghanistan on Zanjar region. So this will be a master game changer in India's commercial interest in Central Asia, Iran and Afghanistan.
Absolutely. On that note, Abhishek Jha, thank you so much for bringing our viewers with the latest news on the India-Iran front. Appreciate it. Right, time now for international news in our World Wrap segment.
Chinese scientists are ready for the launch of China's first Mars exploration mission after completing multiple integrated rehearsals recently. An official of the mission said. Known as Tianwen-1, the first Mars probe of China is scheduled in late July or early August, according to the China National Space Administration. In a recent interview with the state broadcaster China's Central Television, Zhang Yu, deputy director of the Mars probe, said that scientists have conducted joint tests on multiple systems of the Mars mission at all levels and ready for the launch. Compared with the mission to the moon, the Mars mission is more difficult and full of challenges as the probe will take nearly 7 months to land on Mars. North Korea's leader has sacked officials building a hospital after they pressed the public for contributions, media reported. The country's state-run television KRT on Monday aired a video footage of leader Kim Jong-un visiting a construction site of the Pyongyang General Hospital. During his latest visit to the site, Kim fired a group of project managers called the Construction Coordination Commission for failing to allocate a proper budget and supplying equipment and materials from ordinary citizens. Leader Kim ordered the Pyongyang General Hospital to be built by the 75th anniversary of the founding of the ruling Workers' Party in October, calling it a top priority in improving public health in the face of the novel coronavirus. Russian President Vladimir Putin named a new acting governor to head Russia's far eastern region of Khabarovsk on Monday after the previous regional head was arrested on murder charges, sparking a wave of protest. At least 10,000 people demonstrated in Khabarovsk on Saturday to demand Moscow release Sergei Fergal, a member of the ultra-nationalist Liberal Democratic Party. Fergal was detained on July 9th and flown to Moscow to face charges over the murder and attempted murder of multiple businessmen 15 years ago. He denies wrongdoing. Protests broke out soon afterwards and have continued for over a week. Putin on Monday formally removed Fergal from his post and appointed Mikhail Degtyaryov, 39, a lawmaker and also an LDPR member, to take over as the acting head of the region. French President Emmanuel Macron said on Monday he was hopeful a compromise could be reached over a European Union recovery plan. Macron also said that talks had advanced in the EU summit. Macron made the comment as he arrived for the fourth day of the summit. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said extraordinary situations also require extraordinary efforts and hoped the remaining issues to close the deal would be solved soon. After 3 days of haggling over a plan to revive economies throttled by the COVID-19 pandemic, European Council President Charles Michel is expected to put forward a new basis for a deal to bridge the competing demands of North and Southern Europe.
All right, to sports now. The International Cricket Council has confirmed the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in Australia has been postponed due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Cricket's apex body has held multiple meetings in the last few months in order to ascertain the best possible outcome, but came to the said conclusion in the latest one on Monday. The tournament was due to take place between 18th October and 15th November. The next Men's T20 World Cup is now scheduled to be held in October and November 2021, with another in 2022. The ICC has also announced that the 50-over Men's World Cup in 2023 in India will move from February, March to October, November. And the Ballon d'Or for the world's best players will not be awarded in 2020 because of a lack of sufficient fair conditions created by the coronavirus pandemic. The decision seems somewhat bizarre given that all of Europe's major football leagues except France have been able to complete their campaigns. Barcelona star Lionel Messi won a record 6th Ballon d'Or last year, taking him past rival Cristiano Ronaldo, who has 5 to his name. The cancellation of prestigious prize means Cristiano Ronaldo remains one behind Messi. The award was set up in '56 and is the most prestigious individual trophy in football. The Ballon d'Or is presided over by France Football, having been a FIFA award from 2010 to 2015. However, the two companies then split and football's governing body created the FIFA The Best Award, which has run parallel to the Ballon d'Or since 2016. And that's a wrap on Newsnight. But news continues here on DD India and DD News. You can catch all the latest updates